This week on Special Assignment, we show a contentious program based on behavioral modification used by a growing number of families globally and here in South Africa as an intervention for autistic children. Some families claim this could help their children recover fully from autism or make them more functional.
Beautiful. Good. Okay, tell me, when do you eat?
But following part 1 of our program on autism last week, in which we highlighted risky or controversial alternative interventions embarked on by desperate parents with autistic children, Special Assignment received several messages from irate autistic adults who are strongly opposed to these and other interventions. Instead, they are calling for neurodiversity. Last week, we also reported on a growing number of children who are being diagnosed with autism and how some are left abandoned by their parents who simply cannot cope with the challenges that sometimes come with raising an autistic child. This week, we show how only a handful of mainstream schools seem willing to open their doors to children with special needs.
All right, friends, I'm going to...
What then can be done to cultivate a culture of belonging?
The future that was painted for David when we received the diagnosis was very, very bleak. In fact, I'll never forget that day. We were told that David has an autism diagnosis at the age of 22 months. The developmental specialist who delivered the diagnosis very coldly informed us that he would never speak, go to school, live an independent life, that we should in fact actually take out an insurance policy for him.
At the time of David's diagnosis, Ilana was pregnant with her second child.
Emotions are feelings of terror, fear, trauma, shock. We went through all those stages. Anger. I cried oceans of tears. I didn't know if my second child was going to be okay. To think that you're not going to hear your child's voice, can you imagine something like that? To be told that he's not going to be able to speak, that your little baby is not going to have a future.
Apple. Okay, watch me. Apple. Beautiful.
The family decided to enroll David in an applied behavior analysis program, a behavior modification approach within psychology. This program, created by Norwegian-American psychologist Ivor Lovas and widely used today in America, has been marred with controversy. During the beginning years, it made use of negative reinforcement or punishment, while children were taught a wide range of social, language and other skills. But over the years, it has developed into a positive reinforcement psychoeducational approach.
So what we normally do is we give him time on his own, and then we set a timer as well for him, and then we call him back to the table. We'll do like, say, 3 or 4 trials of a target, so that he doesn't get frustrated if we do too many, and then he'll have another break. So we will give him frequent breaks. We'll do quick lessons, but frequent breaks, just until he's on that space where we can carry on with the rest of the day. Okay, look. What is that?
Yeah.
A set of skills are identified each week for David, and while he learns each individual skill, short breaks are calculated in between, where David can do something of his liking. In many cases with David, that means being left to play on his iPad.
What is that?
If ABA is done in the correct way, these children do not feel that they are being drilled and that this is a military camp and it's not done in a robotic way.
David and other autistic children spend on average 40 hours a week being tutored in this behavior modification method, and opponents criticize it for the intensity and amount of hours it requires from the autistic child. And what makes it different from the conventional approach is that a team of experts is appointed to work with one child. Jenna White is the only board-certified ABA instructor in South Africa, and unlike teachers deployed at autism-specific schools or in special needs classes, most ABA instructors come from a psychology background.
Autism is a developmental delay, so there often are skills that we can identify that the child is deficit in and that are going to help the child and the family have a happier life. A lot of the challenging behavior that children with autism demonstrate is misconceived, but it really comes down to a communication deficit. You know, imagine how frustrating it is for you if you can't communicate your needs and your wants, and even it's hard for you to understand when other people talk to you. So it's incredibly frustrating for the children, and I think that's the thing that makes the most rapid difference in people's lives, is when you get the behavior management piece in.
I want you to make soda stream. Okay.
Part of David's education now includes independent living skills, preparing him for life as an adult, very different from the conventional classroom. When David was 22 months old, Ilana was advised to put her son in an institution because he stood little chance to integrate into the family or do anything by himself.
Tommy, go to your toucher. Tell me what you want.
I want brown chips.
Brown chips. Okay, I don't know if we've got any more, but we can look.
No. No.
Oh, monsters versus aliens. Okay. I do spend a lot of time with David. We watch movies together, we build puzzles, and so on holiday it's just nice. And I've got a Nintendo on the TV here, and we play with each other. It is quite tough when David does tantrum in the shops, and a lot of people do stare. But you know what? I'm glad that he's my brother, and I'm happy.
Ilana and her husband decided to have a third child, Aaron, now 3 years old. They relied on years of research into the genetic susceptibility of autism and possible triggers. And Ilana says despite the risk that another child could also have an autism diagnosis, the family believed they were armed with enough information to avoid this from happening.
We were very nervous during his development, and we were being very, very cautious with everything and anything. And he was developing quite normally. I started to actually relax a little bit, and around 15 months he started developing ear infections, and we go in for these grommets, and he comes out of the hospital, and we take him home. Aaron started to lose his eye contact. He stopped responding to his name. He didn't stimulate to environmental sounds anymore. We could see that we were starting to lose him a couple of days after this, and that he was going into his own world. I mean, we were again in shock.
3 more.
At only 17 months old, Aaron was enrolled into a 7-hour daily ABA program. Here, Aaron is filmed at the time during one of his ABA instruction sessions, battling to speak.
2 more. 2 more. Bib. Papa. Look at me. Bib. Papa. Good trying, Mr. Look. Good, let's try all together. Bib. Good. That was a nice one. One more time. Bib. Beautiful, Mr. Mister.
Bananas. Bananas. And tell me things quickly that are red.
Strawberry, tomato, cherry, and apple.
Yay! And some Listen, now, do you want to play with the car or the helicopter?
5, 6, 7.
He is a child who has the potential to recover, and I believe that he will. Even where he is at the moment, he doesn't have enough criteria to qualify for the autism diagnosis. I would call him, at this stage, language delayed. Having said that, he still needs some polishing, but he is a shining star because, and we are very, very lucky, he is a revealed miracle.
But autism experts and other stakeholders believe autism cannot be cured or an autistic child can't recover.
I completely understand parents' desperation to try absolutely anything. The bottom line is autism cannot be cured. It's a part of the individual from cradle to grave. It can, however, be managed.
I think more functional is probably a very good idea to bring across. Curing would mean that you're seeing it as a disease. I think it's a genetic predisposition that is expressed due to environmental factors, and I think you can't change the genetics. You can change the expression. You can get the development on par. You can get that child to catch up on development with certain other children. You might still have some quirky features, but yes, in general, you can improve the outcome of autism a lot.
Ilana and other parents who push for interventions for their autistic children, either in a drive to lose the child's diagnosis or to make him more functional, have been slammed by neurodiversity advocates. In Special Assignments show last week, we highlighted controversial and at times risky interventions that some parents embark on in the hope to assist their autistic children. Following that broadcast, Special Assignment received several messages from irate autistic adults challenging the notion that autistic people should change to fit into mainstream society.
There are many individuals on the autism spectrum that do become independent adults, that are secure financially and can manage themselves completely independently. There are many adults, though, that will need complete care for the rest of their lives.
In part 1 on autism, we highlighted the plight of autistic children like this little girl and many others like her, who are abandoned by families in South Africa who, amid very little social, health and educational support, simply cannot cope with the challenges it presents to care for an autistic child. Very few care centres like this one specialises in services for autistic children in South Africa. And experts say while the number of autism diagnoses increase, this is going to become a major dilemma in the future.
To a certain extent, the whole world is faced with this challenge at the moment because, autism was misdiagnosed for many, many years as different things, and people landed up in mental institutions and psychiatric wards. And now that we know it's not a mental health disorder, we have this wave of children that have been receiving therapy and intervention right across the world that are now leaving school, and there's no kind of exit strategy or plan for them.
Lana opened the STAR Academy, a centre where instructors are trained in the applied behaviour analysis approach and get paired with children to tutor. STAR Academy and other ABA centres in South Africa do not fall under the Education Department's system yet.
We do home sessions with the kids so they're in their own environment, and we basically are teaching the kids and helping the kids and the families as well on how to do therapy with the child there at home. So we also interact with the parents and teach them, we call it parent training, where we teach them how to handle the child's behavior at home and how to deal with certain behaviors at home with the children. But right now, look, we need to get lotion, chips, cream, needles, What's this one? Yeah.
But an important part of ABA is also to generalize the skills that are taught outside of the academy or home environment.
Yeah. Where's your money? Let's see.
Today, Zama takes Keanu out on a shopping trip. Specialist Simon decides to accompany them to see firsthand how ABA works in practice.
Where's Otis? Okay, there they are. Which one do you think is the best one out of these ones? The blue one? Yeah. Let me try it. Sure, grab this one. Yeah.
Excuse me, where's the cream?
Lotion.
Lotion. Cream.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the whole point of us going to the shopping center with the kids. So we're trying to teach them that, you might be special, but you can still do everything that anybody else can do. We're teaching them to be functional and independent. They're still human beings at the end of the day, and we want to make them as independent and as functional as they can in life.
In the first known project of its kind, the Academy sourced funding and is now rolling out the Applied Behavioral Analysis program to a group of mothers in Tembisa in northern Gauteng. Unlike in South Africa, the ABA program has been mainstreamed in America as a treatment intervention for autistic children, and it's one of only a few interventions covered by medical insurance there, at a minimum cost of 15,000 Rand per month in South Africa, to enable a group of facilitators to work with one child. This intervention is far beyond the reach of most parents in South Africa who have autistic children.
There we go. It's a push.
Gladys asked the special assignment team not to identify her or her son because of the stigma that is still attached to autism in her community.
Yes, he's attending a crèche, public crèche. They're complaining about his behavior. Yeah, they don't understand him because he's always all over. I can sit down for 10 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty strong. They're battling with him or how to help him. Okay, it's fine. You want this one? They don't understand. I think they don't. Even if we would try to explain to them, they don't. It's hard to explain to everybody in the public. Yes, sometimes. But my baby is a blessing to me. I can't sleep without him. Yeah.
Gladys watches on to learn the ABA techniques while one of the facilitators teaches Biko how to make eye contact and speak.
Then it's gonna be my turn. 2, 1, my turn. Thank you. Look, say popcorn. Nice try, big boy, but you can do better than that, Biggie. Say popcorn. Nice try, Biggie. You can have your
A positive reinforcer is used every time Biko complies, but it's not long before he has a meltdown.
I think we should sit on the floor, Piggy. Maybe you'll be compliant.
And the reinforcer gets roped in again.
Do you still want to Scooby-Doo? Oh, Scooby-Doo, big boy, you can have it for 2 seconds. 1, 2, my turn. Thank you, that was nice listening, big boy. Look at me. Nice looking! You can have your... It was his reinforcer. At first I did the preference assessment. Maybe I have 2 or more toys. He needs to choose one, the one that he prefers the most. So that's when he'll get to work for that toy. Some parents don't treat their kids, especially if they have autistic children. They can treat them differently from the normal children. I think it's so important because maybe the project will bring something to their minds that, you know what, this is our child, we need to take care of them.
Check it. Say, help me.
Help me.
Okay, I will help you, my boy. It's working. You're gonna go to the it's working for our kids because he didn't do nothing. Now because we're doing one-on-one, that means it's ABA. One-on-one is the key. Good boy.
Lizzie heads up the ABA program in Tembisa. Part of the day's facilitation includes life skills, an important component of the program.
If the parents is doing the way we do, we helping each other. Because we do this in Tembisa Hospital, and I hope at home also the parents gonna help us.
ABA impile tshepo hape ka hore o improvile haholo from speech therapy. So ABA is number one. It's working. It's amazing.
In part 1 on autism, Specialist Simon told the story of Joy, who finds herself at a crossroads with her 3-year-old autistic son. She says she has not been able to find a daycare centre where he can learn and socialise with other children, and having been told that he will probably never be able to go to school, she's worried about his future.
We've tried a normal creche for normal kids. It was a disaster. They were taking care of him, but they told me, like, face to face, that we are not able to teach him anything because he does not concentrate. There's no communication there. He can't speak. They just told me that he's not coping. We're really not doing much for him because he's not learning.
Generally, what has happened in the past is that the parents will try at their local school, and they will be told, we can't accommodate your child, and then they'll be sent to the nearest special school, who also, as soon as they hear the word autism, they say, oh dear, we can't accommodate your child either. The parents then come to an organisation like ours, and we try and help find placement for their children. The situation is definitely improving, and especially in Gauteng at the moment. KZN also have an autism action plan, and the Western Cape also has a great support system and organisations that are trying to help. Unfortunately, it's just not enough.
But not all stakeholders are in favour of autistic schools or separate classes, and there's a growing trend to try and include these children into mainstream schools.
At the end of the day, our main aim is to get inclusion in mainstream schools. But a lot of the time our children can't be accommodated there.
Sacred Heart College in Johannesburg is one of only a few schools who have officially adopted a policy of inclusiveness and invite dozens of special needs learners into their classrooms every year.
Inclusion benefits both children who come in with learning disabilities or barriers to learning, or different learning styles. But it also benefits children in the classroom. I think it's about building an inclusive society. We are a diverse society. Schools are microcosms of that diversity. And I think what happens in a classroom is that it normalizes the society. And the children accept. They accept those children. They're very supportive. It's incredible to watch the level of support children do give to one another. I think the earlier that one does the inclusion, the better.
Autistic children are incorporated into a mainstream class, and in this case an ABA tutor is allowed to accompany the child to facilitate him or her throughout the day.
Before a child goes into school, they actually need to have prerequisites. So they need to come into the academy first, and then once they have certain prerequisites, they actually go into school, because we need a child to actually blend in with the other children. So they need to have your compliance, they need to have behaviors that you will be able to manage in class. But then if that's not at the same level as the children in class, then we'll be able to manage that still in class. That's why we are there to facilitate. I go in there for a specific child, so it's still one-on-one, but then in a classroom setting. So I'll be there, I will blend in and try, whenever a child needs assistance, then I'm there to help the child, let's say with group work or with circle time, then I'm there to actually help the child.
But for Joy and many others, private schools remain unaffordable, and at the few public schools catering for specifically autistic children, a child's name is put on a long waiting list.
Do this. Your turn. Ooh, we're dropping the cup.
After special assignment learned that Joy approached Autism South Africa for assistance with BCOR, we hear that the Star Academy has invited her son for an assessment.
I would consider anything for my boy. I owe it to him to just make sure he gets the best education that he needs. You get used to hearing the negative things, now you get the positive thing. It's like, is it possible? I've met like hundreds of people saying the same thing. Nowadays they're saying a different story. Though I want him to be like that, I want him to be able to do all of that. Even though I'm a bit like, let's see, let me put him in this program and